Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 100. Again, we're just going to give you an insight of what we've got up for next week. As we're edging in towards Christmas and the new year, I really do doubt that there is going to be a lot of potential in the market. But yeah, I will still try and give you some of my thoughts onto the market as well, just in case for anyone who's just watching out for anything in particular. And also we will compare our analysis from last week also. So yeah, we'll start off with gold. So what we spoke about last week was we're coming to a determined, like a point of a key level of support, which is 1760, so represented by this zone. So essentially, if we see price revolt and reverse towards the upside, we could expect that, and that would be a bullish scenario. But if we start to see price break lower this zone, then we will start to see pushes lower. So with that being said, from last week we could see we've had pretty much a sort of rejection of this, so this could act as a nice pillar for price to eventually move up towards the upside. So for this week, I'm still going to keep on these two annotations because we are still in that deciding level, which is 1760, which is this zone still. So what we could expect really is, the question we really have to ask, is this the low, and that this is going to be respected and price started to kick up to the upside. I mean, in terms of bullish price action, we can see that there is one candle stepping there, some candles here, but equally, there is a small amount of sell-off volume. So I think it's probably better to wait for price to really show the intent, and then once we maybe start to break out of 1800, so this level here, maybe we could watch for like a retest trade and watch it continue to rise. So like I said, in terms of targets, we're probably going to be looking at the high here, or probably into this zone here at 1900. So that could be a nice level to potentially look at. So moving on to EURUSD. So what we were looking at from last week was a potential reversal. We can see that price has pretty much done exactly what we've drawn out. But again, this isn't meant to be represented, like our drawings are not meant to represent price action individually. This is just obviously by luck. But essentially you can see what we're trying to go for here, which is essentially just the pullback, and recognizing that there is some potential stepping up in price action right now. So there is a bit of price element right now. I'm going to get rid of this mapping because it's kind of not exactly relevant for now. But if you want to kind of look at that, what I spoke about last time about that annotation, just go ahead and check out the previous video, because we explained, I think, to some sort of detail of what we're looking at for the long term. But I'm just going to break down price action right now, right here. So I'm looking at 1.14. And took in price in here, and also I'm looking into 1.12. so essentially what we're going to see from this is, one, if we can get a break towards the upside, this will be quite a big continuation. The other thing is, if we on the flip side, if we do get more continuation pressure to the downside, then we're going to expect prices to fall just a little bit lower. Price may be a little hesitant, but we could expect more choppy behavior if we do start to break lower. But as you know, I am kind of bullish at some point because we've just been dropping and dropping. It only makes sense that at some point we could expect some sort of reversal. So yeah, so as we drew on from last week, that we were expecting a potential push up higher, the question we have to ask, is this going to be the low, or is it going to be violated? So for now, what I'm going to be looking for is, when we get closer to the upside range, I'm going to be potentially looking for sells, just in case price wants to push lower, like so. And then the other side is, if price does want to push lower, so say for example we drop off here, I'm then going to be watching for buys also. So it's very messy right now, so I'm just going to go get just clear some things up. But essentially I'm playing within this region here, and these trades will be ideally hedging trades, just in case you know, price does want to break out towards the opposite way. So this is what I'll be looking for first. So say for example market pushes up, I will be potentially looking for sells, unless you know, if it gives us something, then we will be looking for sells. But if price will continue to break up, that's when this argument will come into play. So I might as well just move that here. So if price breaks up towards the upside, the next point we'll try and get in on an entry point would be, you know, potentially on the retest. Okay, so the next scenario that we could look at is if price is to fail to push up higher and it starts to break lower. So then this would this would then pay more attention for a possibility of buying opportunities. So I'm not saying necessarily price will come into these areas here or there, but you know, we would be keeping an eye out for basically any bullish intention. And if price gives us an opportunity to get in and it shows that bullish pressure, we will be looking for buys. But if price fails to give us that bullish pressure, we should be able to see a breakthrough at 1.2, 1.12, and then in terms of entry, we would look at a break and retest sort of kind of concept, and we would again be looking for further moves lower. So you could look at this, you know, in two parts like that. So the upside and then the downside. So I'll just probably keep it like that. It kind of looks confusing, but hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, we'll move on to now NZDUSD. So what I've got drawn for this, or key annotations here, was well, from last week we were expecting a possible break lower, and then we were expecting to some degree of a potential break towards the upside. Okay, so we actually did manage to find the upside move. Excuse me. And yeah, so we started to see some elements of price pushing towards the upside. So the second part I had here was this possibility of price turning back down once again. So I'm not entirely too sure about that leg right now. It does look convincing that it could eventually turn over, but for now I just want to really just stay focused and present with price action. I don't really want to give you know, try and negate anything too futuristic or anything. So effectively I'll be trying to see if we can continue this price action into at least 0.69 into this region. Let's just kind of move this up, so within here. But essentially, you know, key points that we're going to be looking at is here, and obviously to the downside here. So if we start to see price maybe drop lower, then we're going to be still potentially looking for buys. Again, I'll be looking at 0.75 for this. So if we start to see price break lower, I'm not going to be looking for buying opportunities as much. I'm going to be probably looking for sells, depending if we see that continued bearish move. But yeah, that's ideally what, you know, we're effectively looking for. So we'll see what comes up next week. Yeah, so moving into AUDUSD. So this one has been quite surprising. I think in our second annotation we drew that, yeah, price could potentially reverse up. So we started on, I think it was the 6th of last week. So 6th we started to see incredible bullish action just all the way up, and yeah, so that was pretty much what we saw here. So we can go ahead and get rid of this, and we can probably now talk about the next place. So touching on from what we drew here, we saw that price immediately smashed and broke towards the upside. So now we're just waiting for the retest. So we can pretty much just go ahead and drag that up, drag that down, and yeah, so pretty much we're just going to be now waiting for the retest and see if it can continue it higher. So that's pretty much what I've got for this pair for now. I mean, this pair really did create a lot of you know, a very nice opportunity there, 100 or 40 pips. So if you did manage to catch that, that was a very good trade. But yeah, we're waiting for a retest to some degree, and then hopefully it can continue up playing higher. So I am watching out for 0.7. If we break lower, just as a warning sign, just in case, we're going to be, you know, potentially looking for that continuation lower as a retest. Okay, so essentially that's where I'm kind of originating my idea. But yeah, let's move on to now USDJPY. So for this, intentionally what I was looking for was maybe price to drop off just a little bit lower, but price really did kind of stall a little bit. It kind of ended up pushing higher. So what I've gained from this is not this scenario just yet, but effectively we're still looking for moves towards the downside, but we can just probably just shift this more towards the upside, actually, like this. That probably makes more sense. So we could even expect price to just do something like this right now. So what we were saying before and last week was that price could potentially break lower and then reverse towards the upside. But what I didn't discuss was in the event that price was going to, if price was going to hold these double bottoms right now. And as we can see, price is looking like it could hold. But again, if price does want to push lower, I will probably just keep this in as a second scenario then. If price does, you know, respect this high, we could get price to continue to push lower. And then if we break these lows, so 113, potentially into 112.5, so I'll probably just move this a bit lower around this level. If we break lower here, clearing these lows here, we could potentially have like a retest on the a support / resistance dynamic, and then we could watch for that continuation lower. So that's two scenarios, and then our third scenario again is if price is to, you know, if it is to push rapidly higher, we could expect price to, you know, rapidly push above. But for now, I don't really I can't see any price action really showing the intent to do that, but obviously I could be wrong, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so CADJPY, so let's take a look at this. So two of the scenarios didn't really play out very well. Essentially price open, market open, and it completely reversed absolutely rapidly. So you can see we've broken that trend line there. So all the downside opportunities for us probably, well, not probably, it has negated. So I'm just really curious to follow this price action right now. So as you can see, huge bullish intention right now. I think this was covered in our third scenario, but we're effectively looking for some upside scenarios right now. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and wait for a particular pullback. So whether price, you know, wants to continue to push higher, or if it wants to retrace even lower, we can let it do so. But effectively, you know, these are drawings are not drawn to accurate, so this could be the low in the market and then it could rally towards the upside. So just keep that in mind. But effectively, we're just trying to find the continuation higher. We're expecting to clear this high here, potentially into 90.5, into 91, test this downtrend. That's ultimately where the bias is, and you can see this reverse of support / resistance dynamic coming into play. So this could hold. I'm not saying it will, but it's a nice level at 89, so we'll see if it can hold. But I am going to move this now back to 88, and this is going to be the key for me, because if we break this low, it will potentially show the intention that we want to break lower, and if that happens, then we'll wait for a retest scenario on the downside, which is like so. Okay. So again, price breaks to the downside, reverses, has a retest, and it continues lower. So that would be my bearish setup. But for now, I feel like we're still in a bullish setup and a bullish sentiment. So we'll keep an eye on those levels. Okay, so coming into play with this 128 level, we actually broke it now. So we can see prices now almost shifting towards the upside. We can get rid of this one probably now because we've had that intention. Let me just double check what I've got. But yeah, I'm thinking that there is a possibility that price may want to start to push up higher. I think what we was ideally looking for was, you know, is price really going to reverse now? And long term speaking, we are looking for price to, break this downtrend. As you know, we've been bearish for a very long time, so it could look like price may want to continue to push up higher, just to act as like a reversal to recover all of these pushes to the downside. But I'm looking at 127.5 as my line of defense from going from bullish to bearish. So if we break this low, I'll be looking for a retest, and effectively, yeah, looking at a retest. So if you see price break towards the downside, we'll look at a reversal and a retest on that zone potentially, and then we'll see that continuation lower if we do get this break, of course. But for now, as we can see, price is looking like it's stepping up, a nice strong candle there. We could potentially start to see some sort of support coming in, and we want to obviously buy off those support levels, so hopefully we could potentially buy up and aim towards this downtrend here and see if we can break it. So that's the intention there. Coming into the last three pairs, so AUDJPY. So this one has been quite surprising. We can see that, again, similar with AUDUSD, we had a huge rally towards the upside. I wasn't really expecting this, but I think what we was looking at was some sort of expectation. Excuse me. A sort of expectation that price would probably want to continue lower. So yeah, for now, I'm thinking that as price has really just been bullish all this time, it's fair to say that, let's just try and continue this move towards the upside. And even though that we were looking for bearish setups, we've absolutely tapped 79, so this could be the explosion towards the upside. So we'll see what happens here, but effectively we're either going to wait for a pullback and a continuation higher, and that's really the kind of story we're trying to get into. So whether we get a pullback or just a little bit higher up, so maybe something like this, that could also hold true. I might as well just leave that in just for next week. Next week's kind of outlook. But yeah, that's ideally what I'll be kind of shooting for, or kind of expecting and looking for. I'm gonna hold 79 zone, just in case if we come back to this level, and if we break lower, then there is a possibility that we could be pushing lower. Okay, so I'm just keeping that kind of curiosity out there. So USDCHF, last two pairs. So for this, I was actually curious to see if price wanted to continue higher. So what we saw is that, the potentially price is doing the second scenario right now, so I probably will get rid of this one. There is a possibility that price may want to push lower, and then want to push up higher. So I'm going to keep this annotation in because I'm quite happy with what's happening and unfolding. The other expectation is that if this now starts to rally towards the upside, we could wait for this continuation play towards the upside. And how will we know that? Well, I feel like if we get above the 93 level, it'll be quite significant. Because yeah, it really would show that price really wants to push up higher. But yeah, if we start to push up higher than 93, I'm going to be aware and keen to look for potential buys, just to see if we can break above 94 and beyond. Okay. So yeah, the third thing that we've got marked out as well then is if we break the 91 level, again, waiting for that retest and that potential move lower essentially. Okay. USD CAD. So for this, I think we spoke about this last time, but 6th of. So yeah, what we was looking at was just waiting for price to really show that it would want to drop off. So I don't know if I was saying that this is the exact turning point, but I think that we were just waiting for price to really show the intention to drop off. And I'm quite happy with this sell-off opportunity here. So just going to see now if we can hold it and if the sales can continue to push on. So with that being said, what's the kind of trading opportunity here? So what we're trying to look for is really just to see if we can find that pullback and watch it continue to push lower. So that's ideally what we're looking at here. Let's get rid of this one. The next thing that I would be looking at is now utilizing that 1.285 high as it's created here. So if we do get a break above here, a break up, we'll wait for a retest and then see if we can look for a buying opportunity. So this is pretty much my buying, that would be my buy scenario, is that if we break above 1.285, if we start to however, if price doesn't get up to here and break above here, we'll be still in a sell scenario, and I'll be looking for price to eventually roll over to the downside. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much this week's video. Again, we are stepping into the end of the year, so also December, Christmas time, New Year's. So there will be a lot of holidays. I know a lot of traders will be taking a break and just taking some time off. I personally will be, but I will still try and keep doing the videos if I can, unless I get caught up with just personal things. But yeah, I'll still be trying to make some videos along the side just to keep the attention. I'll still be looking at cryptos. I don't think there's anything too drastic that's happening, but usually around Christmas time there's always something that happens, or around early January. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the crypto world also. So just watch out for those videos. But yeah, I believe we are coming into I think it's 2 weeks to Christmas, so not Christmas wishes just yet. Next week it shall be. But yeah, so in theory there's not really much creeping into the market, but I think there still is opportunities to get involved if you really did want to trade. But I would I would recommend, probably just preparing yourself for January personally, starting yourself up for next year. So again, guys, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I do appreciate it. Again, if you did get any value from this video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you're subscribed. If you haven't done so already, make sure you join our trading group. That link is in the description, of course. So again, guys, that would be all. Appreciate your time, appreciate your again, for you guys watching, and we'll see you all in our next week's video.